every word perfectly weighted on a thin piece of paper. Would it make any difference?
So a very good afternoon, boys and girls, and welcome back to another video. And today we've come out with Olympus's own answer to the Nifty 50. This is the 25mm f1.8. Let's go see what it can do.
Don't wanna sleep tonight at all. Just wanna watch them stars fall. But you don't wanna try to make up dreams.
So dotted all around this place are these things. I don't know what they are, but they make, well, great picture frames for taking pictures of scenes through. So the lighthouse just behind you over in that direction is going to be framed quite nicely by this, and I think we'll shoot it at f1.8 just to really see if we can't blare out all of this and just make a weird kind of picture frame with the landscape behind it. So let's have a look and see what we can do. Right then, let's see if we can't do something. I think we might get nice and close to it. Let's make a nice big picture frame through there. f1.8 ISO 200, and I'm shooting aperture priority mode today because I really can't be bothered to worry about settings. There we go. Let's try and get the lighthouse in the middle and stop wobbling. Oh, there we go. I'll tell you what, for micro four thirds, it gives a bit of a blur to it.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts.
I hate the sand. I really dislike the sand. Let's have a quick chat about the lens.
Wonderful delight. Forgo. Give up everything that.
So this 25mm f1.8 lens from Olympus sits in the middle of a trio of fast primes that Olympus released a few years ago. You have the 17mm f1.8, you have the 25mm f1.8, and you have the 45mm f1.8. Now, I have owned the 45mm, and it is a fantastic little lens, which kind of led me into deciding to pick up the 25mm. And I'll be honest with you, looking at the pictures on the camera, I'm not going to be all that much disappointed with it. I was expecting for a little cheap and nasty thing, but it's actually really bloody sharp. There's not a lot of chromatic aberrations, a little bit in the corners against high contrast scenes, but you kind of expect that from most lenses. Anyway, there's a little bit of vignetting wide open, but that's about par for the course for a 1.8, and I can kind of live with it, and it's very easily corrected in post-production. But I really do like the 50mm field of view that this lens gives. It's a very natural looking field of view, isn't it? It's very similar to what you see with your own eyes, and in my opinion, a fast 50 is, well, it should be the second lens that any photographer acquires. You often get the kit lens, the 18 to 55s with the variable apertures, and while they're good enough, I think having something with that super shallow depth of field, it really allows you to explore the creative side of photography, and this is the kind of lens that I think anybody should pick up after they've had the kit lens for a while. I'm really in love with the thing. Now, I bought this thing to sit on my Olympus Pen EP1 just as a said and done setup. That camera is full spectrum converted, and I just wanted one lens just to throw on it, and I thought a 50-1.8, I think that will do fine. I just need to find an infrared filter to fit the really obscure 46mm filter thread on the front of this lens. It's well made. It's made of plastic, obviously, at the price point, but it's not cheap plastic. It's got a metal lens mount as well, so it's well constructed. It's got a little bit of weight to it, which allows you to trust the lens, if that makes sense. Light lenses, I often don't trust them. I associate heavy lenses with better build quality. Maybe not so much optical quality, but certainly decent build quality. Yeah, it looks a bit funny on my EM1 Mark II with a silver lens and a black body, but that's here and there because it's not really going to be for this camera. So let's go ahead, take some more photographs down Spen Point. It's a weird kind of day today. It's grey and cloudy, but the sun's backlighting all of the clouds, so there's some really nice looking sky about today, despite the fact that we are actually in the middle of the day. Sunset's about 5:30. The plan is to hopefully get down towards the end as the sun sets, and hopefully the rain stays off as well, and we might get some really nice photographs a little bit later on. But for now, I'm just going to go for a walk around and take some photographs with my new lens. So because I'm a big boy and I realise that this is the internet, I was never going to make a video like this without somebody mentioning full frame and background compression in relation to a proper 50mm 1.8. So I did something. I brought one with me. This has been recorded on a full frame camera. There's a crab pot there. There's a lighthouse behind us with some grass. Let's throw both of them on a tripod and take the same photo. Let's compare background compression with a 25mm 1.8, a physical 25mm f1.8 with the field of view of a 50mm lens on a full frame camera against a proper 50mm lens. That's millimetre in English. Let's go. So first up, we have the 25mm 1.8 on the Olympus camera on the tripod, and I focused right on the tip of this crab pot, right there where the finger is. I focused right on that point. We've got the blade of grass in the background, we've got the lighthouse going off in the other direction. So let's have a look at the camera settings. f1.8, an 8,000th of a second, and ISO 200, and this is probably going to be a little bit on the overexposed side, but here we go. There's what I'm taking. So let me swap over now. I don't know if this camera's going to find me with focus because it doesn't like to, but I'm going to put the 51.8 on this lens, on this camera, and take the same photograph, and I'll show you them side by side, and let's see how they look. So there we go, there was two photographs taken on different lenses, on different cameras, very, very close. The lighthouse in the second photograph did look like as if it was a little bit closer, but not enough to really completely change the whole aesthetic of the photograph. So while there is a bit of a difference in the background compression and everything like that, it's somewhat negligible, I'll be honest. It's not something that's going to bother me, and for all intents and purposes, the 25mm to me is a 51.8. Let's go take some photos, some lighthouses. So I kind of feel like the light might be fading away just a little bit now. We've not got all the warm tones to the landscape and everything's just a little bit bright. I think the cloud is really starting to come over again, just as we've got with the end in sight. It's a bit of a shame really, but I can see out to sea there is some high altitude wispy stuff. It's not low cloud, medium level cloud, so you may not completely stifle the light as the day goes on. But look at this, the old orange fishnet on the floor, the lighthouse in the background, some dramatic backlit sky. Let's have a look. So I'm at 5.6, around the 640th, 800th of a second, ISO 200, shutter speed depending on the direction I'm facing. Let's have a look, let's take a photograph of this big orange net. Let's focus on the net actually, make that the subject. Here we go. Here's a photograph.
I will do everything I can for you.
So the walk down here, it gives you time to reflect and think things through. And on the way down here, I've been trying to figure out why 51.8s or this 25 f1.8, why are they so popular? Why does everybody seem to have one? And it kind of dawned on me that it could be to do with the versatility of it. So let's talk about the obvious. Let's talk about that big, bright f1.8 aperture that allows you to get down to a 50th of a second reasonably without any kind of camera shake. Now, if you're using a camera that doesn't have in-body stabilization, that's fantastic. If you're shooting at night, you can crank the ISO just up a little ways, and you know that you're going to get some nice, sharp, handheld photographs. This camera here, this has in-body stabilization. It's not something that I would worry too much about anyway, but for those of you out there with cameras with no stabilization, a 50th of a second is actually pretty slow. If you think about it, it's actually really quite a slow shutter speed. So if you're able to do that handheld, don't worry about it. That is a great thing. The field of view on these things, they're very similar to the human eye. It's a little bit, I think it's a little bit zoomed out to what we would see, but it's very, very close. So if you want to take a very natural looking photograph, something that people would recognize as a scene with their own eyes, then using a camera like this that is great. You can show people what they're going to see in real life. You can use the aperture to create blurry backgrounds. You can get really artistic with your photographs. At night, these things look fantastic with LED lights in the background and all the little buckyballs in the background. You can really get creative with that big, bright aperture. And it just kind of dawned on me on the way down here that the versatility of a lens like this is why everybody should have one in the camera bag. One of the reasons I come down here so often is the ever-changing nature of the beach around here. The last time I came down here to shoot this lighthouse from this position, about this much of these posts were visible above the sand, and well, I'm 5'6", and there is clearly a lot more posts visible right now. The problem is, because there are so many of these and there is so much post sticking out there, finding a nice clean composition, shooting through them to have the background as the lighthouse and these as the foreground, I think it's going to be quite tricky. And it's something that I really want to challenge myself to do. So I'm going to walk around for a few minutes, camera held up to face. Obviously this is a prime lens, so you really have to use your feet with this one. You can't just plonk in one location and zoom in and out. It's one of the fun things about prime lenses is it kind of instills it into you that sometimes you do have to shuffle your feet to find a photograph. But I'm kind of wondering if there would be a way of creating some order between these posts and kind of create some separation so we don't have posts overlapping. So I'll just have to shuffle about a little bit and let's just see what we can come up with.
Can you tell me where to start? I need someone to empty this heart. Any direction now would help. Let me give you a piece of advice, she said.
So welcome to my favourite chill out spot along the whole peninsula. It's a bit messy around here, it's a bit scruffy, but it's great at the same time because nobody really makes it this far down and you tend to have the place all to yourself. It's nice and quiet and you just have time to reflect on things. Now, it's making a nice change, to be honest, to be here without it absolutely blowing a gale or tipping down with rain. And there are a couple of photographs that I want to get. The first is a photograph of the low lighthouse. And the second is, if you call back to the start of the video where I used the post as a frame for the lighthouse quite far off, well, there is another one which is a little bit closer to the lighthouse. I'm going to try that again. It's a photograph I took last year when I came down here, but it was a bit of a grey flat day. There wasn't any blue sky or any real interest. So I want to try that photo again. So let's get stuck in and just take two more photographs from my favourite little spot on Spain Head. So this wall that I'm currently standing on, it zigzags along. It's like an old defence tidal fence by the looks of it, but it's really weird because it zigzags all the way along, and I've always been really drawn to it, and there's always a photograph that I'm trying to take from here. So I'm going to have another go with the 25mm 1.8, but I think where I'm standing now I'm a little bit too close. I may need to be more where you are. I want to get the wall snaking and zagging around and just have the low lighthouse off in the subject in distance in the middle groundy bit. There's a bit of a sky happening. I don't think we're going to get any sunset light at this point. The sun's all been destroyed by low cloud at this point, and I think that's probably going to be a theme for the rest of the night, looking at where the sky and the clouds are coming from. So let's hurry up and take this one while there's still just a little bit of texture and definition in the sky. So let's move around. I'm hoping the autofocus on this camera is able to keep up with me as I'm doing this. Let's have a look. Are we close enough? Oh, it's a little bit better. I may need to come a little bit closer to you. Have a look from this point. Oh, there we go. That kind of works. I need to shuffle around just a little bit more. And there we go. There's another photograph from my favourite chill out spot at Spain Point. So one of the great things about this place is climbing through all the thick brush like this. It doesn't have loads of thorns on it, and quite big thorns as well. Ow. Right, let's climb up here and hopefully get one more photograph before this cloud completely destroys any light that we've got in the other direction. Oh man, this is just prickling everything. Absolutely everything, left or right, left or right. Right looks slightly easier and less death. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go, there's a little post just up there. So it comes to take a photograph through. And there's a lighthouse off in the distance. Let me adjust the exposure. There we go, you can see there's just a little bit of texture left in the sky. Off in this direction you can see all of the weather just starting to encroach, so hopefully get a photograph before it gets a bit wild. Wish me luck. So there we are, boys and girls. I've been out for a walk today with my 25mm f1.8 lens on my Olympus camera, and I've had an absolute blast in doing it. We've got some more light than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a lot grayer and a lot wetter than it actually was. So to get some sunlight, well, it actually made quite a nice change to be down here in them conditions. And it's also, like I said, it's not very windy. It's been quite pleasant today, but I think the time has come for me to make the 3-mile hike back to the car. It's a long way away. I can't see it and I don't like it. It's a slog, so thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please do give it a thumbs up and a like. It really does help bring your viewers to see my content. And if you're new here and you liked it a bit more than that, there's a subscribe button below me. You can press that and see more nonsense every single week. So until next time, I love you and leave you and say peace and goodbye.